ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to FTW Future Focus. I am your not so humble correspondent, Robert Black. Ooh, yeah! And to my side is the silent but deadly man from Chicago, Illinois, and he has about as much use for women's professional wrestling as I do for lack of sunlight. He is Marvelous Marcus Buckley. How you doing, sir?
What's up, everybody? Bears are NFC North champs, so I'm in a good mood tonight.
Hey, absolutely. And just to let everybody know, speaking of good moods, this episode is no Thanksgiving. To end out the year as a present to our fans, this episode of FTW Future Focus, I cannot say that catchphrase. Anything and everything goes on here. And speaking of anything goes, that brings me to the founder of our feast, the president of FTW Network, my pal and friend, hell of a professional wrestler, even more of a hell of a promoter, and a hell of a goddamn handsome man. He is the mastermind, Bobby Rogers. How you doing?
What's up? I know all them blind ladies agree with you. It's okay.
Well, considering our subject matter today, I thought that I would butter you up a little bit and get you in a good mood because you might not like our first subject of the day. So I want to make sure that you are that you are happy with and content in what we're doing today.
Listen. I do want to say this just for the record. I may not. How can I say it? I may not speak highly of a lot of things. Okay, I have my
Hmm.
opinions on them, but that's what they are. They're my opinions. This show is not for me. This show is not to make me happy. This show is not designed to where it's everything I like to see. It's just gonna be that, and they can kiss my ass. If that was the case, it'd be a pretty boring show. I mean, I'm just being honest. You know what I'm saying? I do a
Yeah,
lot of things because I want fans of all genres and all tastes to come together and be able to discuss subjects. And hey, if you get told you're crazy, I mean, just don't get mad. Just understand that person think you're crazy. You're nuts. But your opinion does matter. I have my
Hmm.
opinions about AEW. You have your opinions about WWE. Marcus
That's
has his opinion
true.
about women's wrestling. Tony has
Yeah,
opinions on if it's going to be Trish Stratus or Tiffany Stratton. Everybody got their preferences and their choices to make. And this is not one of those forums to where you're going to be ostracized because you have a different opinion. I might tease you a bit. I might make fun of you a little bit. But other than that, it ain't nothing serious. We have our opinions, and that's what it's designed for us to state our opinions and state everything that we feel. Because the only way the pro wrestling community is going to get better is that we hear each other's opinions, evaluate the opinions, and see if it does fit, if it's right, or if somebody just plain old crazy. Most of the time, I fit in that latter category. So,
as do I. Well, okay, speaking of crazy, I'm going to make a statement here right off the bat.
Rio was saying she was
This,
coming by next week. Just wait.
besides that,
Oh, okay.
what I. No, that's not shocking. What is shocking is the statement I'm about to make is that I believe that the first half of 2025 was better for AEW than the latter half.
Hmm.
Last night kind of reflects that reality in microcosm. Now, Bobby, Marcus, have either one of you seen World's End yet?
No.
Okay.
The only end of the world I saw was when my ex-wife called me and said Merry Christmas.
Oh, well, if she said that she was going to pay back your alimony, you'd have a happy new year, too.
Oh yeah.
But speaking of payback, um, this show, I think, is a a reflection and microcosm of everything that AEW has been through in the last year, and that Bobby, you're familiar with a cleanup show
Yeah,
where all of the angles over a year or however are stopped and ended and cleaned up so that you can start with a new slate.
yeah,
I think that World's End, and this is just my theory. I believe that World's End last night was AEW's way of rebooting for 2026 because we got it seemed like they were putting an end or a bracket around certain things, and that in January we're going to start fresh.
now can
Um,
I say something?
yeah, go ahead.
I get what you're saying, but this is what disturbs me about this. I don't know
Hmm.
if Marcus will agree with me on this or not, but whenever you have a federation like you have AEW, WWE, or something, you got your main show, your main showcase of a show. WWE's is WrestleMania. AEW's is either all in or all out. I mean, it's schizophrenic, so you can't tell which one it is.
I would say
But
all in.
okay, let's say all in. I mean,
Yeah, sake of argument.
so all in WWE are they shows. Those are the shows that you should be really cleaning up and doing stuff like that with.
Hmm. Yeah.
And my thing is, it was what seems to happen. And oh, by the way, hot tie. Um, the thing that it seems like that's happening is they're treating the end of the year like a mid-season. If you get what I'm saying, they
Yeah,
start to reset everything when it comes to the end of the year as well, which throws everything off. I think it should be a good continuation, especially on your main two top storylines. You don't end them. Whoever you're going to WrestleMania with, you either just introduce them and have some type of plot there that you stuck to them, or they have been going for a minute. There's a plot that stuck to them, and you continue in that plot. I think, and again, this is just me. Um, I, I look at it and I look at the formats and things, and I look again fundamentals, and I think that's what takes away a lot from the programs because they don't follow those type of fundamentals. Think about back in the day, all right? And, oh God, I'm gonna date myself. But remember when our parents used to watch, especially our mothers, used to watch those late night TV shows, Falcon Crest,
hmm,
Dallas,
Hmm.
stuff like that.
yes,
Icelander.
Knots Landing, yeah.
yes,
Well, when it came to the end of their season, it was a cliffhanger. So when it came to next season, you was like, who did it? Especially Dallas. The JR was getting shot like I don't know what.
Mm.
And
hmm,
every year who shot JR, you know what I'm saying? You
yes.
got you got programs don't do that anymore. And it's a missing fundamental element to keep our interest not only when it comes to I mean it comes to when it comes to wrestling it is really affecting it. I mean, I don't know if you guys see that or am I just crazy?
Well, I think there's
Well,
been effort to do it. It's just not done well to where we care. I don't think they give us the build up of a good storyline to really care anymore. I think there have been efforts made to do it. It's just not done well, in my opinion.
Hmm. Okay.
well, obviously, professional wrestling has been called a soap opera for men. But that being said, it is a slightly different creature than your typical television show drama, especially daytime soaps. Daytime soaps are based on storylines that practically never end. Now, pro wrestling remembers, and we remember practically every storyline and every feud that we've seen, but it is delivered differently. And there are times when, due to either circumstance or convenience, we get a cutoff point where everything reboots, and it is expected to make sense when you do it. And WCW did that right before it died, granted, but WWE has also done that too. And the reason is that in entertainment meant for men, we like a clean break and a new start. Whereas and I'm not trying to be sexist here, but males and females have different ideas of what entertainment should be. And for female audiences, they want consistent continuity. For men, when continuity starts to break down, we want to cut it off and start new. And I think that that happens more often in professional wrestling than it would happen in, say, Dallas, because Dallas and my family were big fans of that show. Dallas in its later seasons got so convoluted that they didn't know how to reboot it until the infamous Bobby Ewing in the shower scene. That, yeah, sure, it rebooted everything to where they could like fix all the problems that they were having narratively, but it was so crazy and nonsensical that it turned off like three-quarters of the audience and they never got them back. Pro wrestling, on the other hand, does has clean breaks, and clean breaks that you can identify, which, like I said, is a cleanup show. When you end the stuff you got going, start fresh so that you can move on, and sometimes you need that. So I think that's a good thing in terms of how pro wrestling works as opposed to Days of Our Lives.
And then you add nowadays compared to back in the 80s, we got this monster called the internet and dirt sheets where, I mean, let's look at the latest thing with WWE. I mean, we all knew it was going to be Austin Theory was going to be the guy masked up. Now can you imagine if the internet was like it was in the 80s? We all would have known that Christian shot JR. That would have been leaked, a month ahead of time. They would have
Yes.
had to shoot it. So it's like there's nothing. Not only I don't think we care. It's like nothing is. It's very rare where everything is kept a secret nowadays. The story is ruined barely before it gets a chance to get going.
Well, that's the death of kayfabe, and that's one of the major things. Part of the Bobby talks about fundamentals, and kayfabe is part of those fundamentals. And
Mm.
since that has died on the vine, we have to think of different ways of contending with that. Now, Bobby's way of doing it, I appreciate. It's just that sometimes WWE's way of doing that, I don't appreciate. But speaking of which, since I was the one that saw World's End last night, I can tell you that there were two major title changes. Moxley won the Continental Tournament. So the
What?
unified title is disunified.
Wait, Mox.
Yes.
Who did
Moxley won the Continental title.
who do you wrestle in the finals?
He wrestled Okada for the
Mm.
first time, apparently. So, in their first meeting. Now, I gave that match 3 3/4 stars. I thought it was decent, but they were doing an injury angle, and Moxley was selling that the whole time, and he and Okada had a very American style of match. So I was more lenient with the slower pace on that one. But bottom line, Moxley won, and then afterwards cut a babyface promo. So they are That's why I call this a a I forgot the terminology I used. I'm losing my mind here.
Yeah. Did Moxley?
Anyway, go ahead.
No, I was going to say Moxley pin him clean.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, Moxley pinned him clean. However, uh, they were basically they were cleaning up the heel stuff that the Death Riders had been doing all year, and it looks like they're going to reboot Moxley as a babyface. On the other hand, the other title switch that happened is that we have begun our second reign of terror.
Yeah.
MJF won the AEW World title last night, and he beat Samoa Joe to do it, which is a reversal from last year's World's End where Joe ended the reign of MJF. So we have got our second reign of terror with MJF on top of the roost, which I think is a very good idea because there's an infinite number of possibilities with MJF as the champion. Um, Everything else was great. Um, the opening tournament matches with Okada and Takeshita and Moxley and Fletcher, those were the matches of the night at the beginning. Um, the pace kind of sagged in the middle, which is kind of how I feel about AEW in the middle of the year, which is why I call it a cleanup show. FTR had a great match with the Bang Bang Gang. They retained. A 4-star match between Gabe Kidd and Darby Allen. They went balls to the wall. They bled all over the place. Um, Worst match of the night, surprising, not surprising to me, was the what they called the 8-person mixed nuts match,
Oh.
which the reason they called it mixed nuts is because everybody was crazy in it and there were 2 women involved, Shafir and Storm.
Ooh.
And yeah, and Shafir and Storm interacted with the men, so that's why they called it. But that match was 3 1/4, and that was my lowest rating of the night.
Hmm.
So everything on this car. Statlander versus Hayter. That was a damn good match. It was on par with the FTR Bang Bang Gang, and excuse me. The main event was a scramble match, but it didn't drag. So all in all, and granted, you can call me full of shit because I'm an AEW apologist to some extent, but I'm going to call it like I see it. And even though this was not the best AEW show of the year, far from it, I think that was all in Texas, but still, AEW shines on pay per view when they don't necessarily on television, but television is getting better. So I have optimism for AEW in 2026, aside from all the Netflix bullshit, which we may or may not get into later in the show. But aside from that, I think AEW is looking pretty healthy.
Yeah. One.
Marcus, how do you feel?
Well, there were. I tried to order this show, but for whatever reason, I wasn't able to order it. But there was three matches that I really wanted to see on this pay per view, which is
Hmm.
why I order it. I wanted to see the Takeshita versus Okada match because they've been teasing
Yeah.
it for the longest time, and I preferred it to been just a regular match more so than a tournament match. But I thought, you
Hmm.
know, like I said before on this show, Okada usually shows up based on his opponent, and to get
Yeah.
to Kesher to me is definitely one of the best wrestlers in AEW. Period. Um, and surprisingly, it's gonna surprise you all. I really wanted to see the Jamie Hayter Chris Statlander match because I think those are two of the best women wrestlers in the world right now. And I was on the show last week. I don't know if you guys did a review on that, but my prediction that probably wasn't going to happen that I was going to make was I thought Hayter was going to turn heel and win the belt due to with outside interference from Britt Baker, which is what I thought was going to happen because they've been talking about trying to find a way to bring Britt Baker back, and I thought this was been a great way to bring her back for the new year. And I don't know if you guys saw the promo they did on Dynamite, but boy, Hayter and Chris Lander, they can wrestle their ass off, but listening to them do a promo is like listening to China and Stephanie McMahon cut a promo. I mean, it makes your ears bleed. I mean, it was a terrible promo that they did. So I thought Britt would have been great with a heel Jamie Hayter. And going back to I think it was a year two, year three they were together. And
Yeah.
okay, and I'm glad to see MJF won because I thought that Tony Khan did not have a choice but to put the title back on MJF based on that promo, based on that pop he got in Manchester a couple of weeks ago.
Hmm.
I'm like, oh god, if he don't, I don't know what the plan was, but based on that pop that he got, I'm like, there's no way. I mean, I think Joe is great, but there's no way they could not put this title back on MJF just based on that pop alone. And you add the fact that he's there, in my opinion, the only marketable star that they have right now. Anyway, I think Kyle Fletcher is their future, even though MJF is only a couple of years older than him. But right now, I mean, they should ride. 2026 should be the year MJF in AEW, as far as I'm concerned, because they're. I posted in the Motown group. Their last week, their ratings was like 300,000 viewers. I mean, it's getting lower and lower and lower. You could say it was a holiday, this, that, and the other, but they need MJF right back right now. They really need him. They really need him to put some more viewers in front of the TV right now. So
Well, those ratings only reflect TBS. They don't reflect the streaming. So,
yeah,
which is why I've always said that the ratings that Nielsen releases. I mean, WWE has had the lowest ratings for SmackDown that they've had for like 5 years. So
I mean,
it's
well,
all in decline. About
we,
that.
we can say that, Rob, but the bottom line is it's getting lower because the shows haven't been good. I mean, it's just reflective. I mean, they were doing well with 600,000. Now it's going down to 5 to 4 to 3. I mean, everybody's not going streaming. I mean, let's not. I mean, that I mean, we can try to say that, but the reality is the shows haven't been good. People are just not watching anymore. That's just what it is. But I mean, we can
Well,
go forth on that. But regardless of that, they need MJF right back right now. They need him back. And I'm glad they put the belt on him. And I really hope this is a long title run.
well, okay. Let me. I'm not going to sit here and if you're right and people are tuning out and not watching, then they are really missing out and they should fucking watch because last night the three matches you mentioned were fucking awesome. Statlander and Hater, I rated that at 3 3/4. Um, the main event with MJF winning the belt was a 4 star, and uh, Okada and Takeshita got 4 1/4, and they tied with Fletcher and Moxley at the beginning of the show. So, number one, if people are not watching Dynamite or not watching AEW in general, just out of habit or lack of star power, then you are missing out, number one. And number two, you're missing the point. Because without AEW, you get the monopoly back, and we all know, if we're old enough, how much WWE sucks the meat missile when they are the only big fish in the goddamn pond. So there are 300,000, a million people in this world who are wrestling fans who are being fucking stupid by not watching this. It's good wrestling, and you're missing out because you're addicted to Netflix. And that's just that's my opinion. Maybe AEW sucks and I'm just a mark, but god damn it, I don't want the monopoly back. So hate on me as much as you want in the comments or whatever, but if AEW fails, then wrestling is fucked. And
Yeah,
sports entertainment will kill professional wrestling if AEW fails.
but here's the thing, though. I mean, you just said that Moxley won. Moxley won this class, this tournament. Now, when you said that, I was
Yeah.
like, "Fuck, they like Moxley again." I mean, their own audience is telling them based on the numbers that we're tired of Moxley, but yet you keep shoving them in our face still. I mean, there was a chance you could have put that thing on Takeshita. You could have put. I mean, AEW has a lot of talented wrestlers. You're right; they have good wrestling, but if you keep shoving the same motherfuckers down our throat, that as fans we're telling you we're tired of. I mean, the numbers reflect. The numbers reflect.
Uh,
Rob, the numbers reflect. They're telling Tony Khan, we're tired of Moxley, we're tired of Orange Cassidy, we're tired of the Young Bucks, we're tired of Hangman Page, but we get that week after week after week after week, month after month after month, and they're now telling us again, oh, we're keeping Moxley on. We're just going to make him babyface. We're going to keep him on
you're
top.
Marcus, you're contradicting your own argument. You said that MJF and only a few others are the only star power that AEW has. And like it or not, Moxley is star power because of what he did in WWE before. Now, fans have been telling WWE for years that they're tired of fucking Cena and Reigns and Lesnar and all of the nostalgia bullshit that they keep doing. So what's the difference? The numbers reflect that too. If they reflect one way, they
Can I say
reflect
that?
the other.
Can I speak on that, please?
Okay, yeah, I could tell you the difference, but go ahead.
The way I look at it and the way I'm looking at the difference is the numbers is not as big as the disapproval when you come to ratio, when it comes to the two. You have to think about it. WWE has a much larger audience, okay? That much
I
larger
wouldn't say
audience,
much larger.
no, it is much larger. I mean,
We can dispute the size.
that's what she,
Professional
that's
wrestling
what she
fandom has
said.
been declining for decades.
That's what she said.
Oh
But
God, I
my
can't
thing
say it.
is, my thing is, WWE does have a larger size audience. Um, I think they actually got a foothold internationally a little bit more than AEW does. My problem is when you have that large pool, you have people in the background that aren't heard. They really do enjoy the product. Now you could make that same argument with AEW, but
Yeah,
again, I don't see AEW having that many fans as WWE to compare them to. That's the problem. You don't have a good, big enough comparative sample to go ahead and call these guys competitors right now. AEW is its own entity, WWE is its own entity. And Moxley, I'm sorry, and you know how I feel about Moxley. Moxley's not a person you
Yes.
can promote. Moxley's not a person you could headline a marquee off of. He can't even beat MJF. How is he gonna do that with anything else? I mean, honestly, Kyle Fletcher's come in. It could be a more of a marquee guy than John Moxley. I mean, whoa, wait a minute. Timeless Tony Storm has been shown
Oh,
to be able to lead the company and be marketable
that was
than
the
John
worst part of
Moxley.
the fucking show, though.
But you know what? She carries that shit like a bag of groceries. You can't deny that. That girl carries that motherfucking
Well, I
side.
can, but that's a
Yeah,
whole other discussion.
some other women do that too, but we're gonna leave that alone. But it's just the thing of he is not it, and he has slipped through the cracks, so he can be. It can be looked at that he's it, but if you really look deep down into it, he's not. He's mid card. Moxley is mid card. Does he have the potential to be? Yes, he does. But he needs to leave the bullshit alone and stop bleeding every fucking 5 minutes. You know, if he stop bleeding every fucking five
He
minutes,
didn't last night.
what?
What?
He didn't last night with the. No, he did not bleed last night, at least not intentionally. I think he chipped a tooth or something, but that was it. He did not bleed in either the Fletcher match or the Okada match, and both of them were good.
Okay, so I mean, it's about time.
Yeah,
Because
really.
every other time you've seen that man
Like I
bleed,
said, cleanup show, you know?
that's more than cleanup. That was surgery if he did that shit. But I mean, Moxley is not a person that you can make $1 million house off of. He's not. He's
Absolutely
not.
not.
He's not. Fletcher is. I say that all day
No.
long. Fletcher is. I mean, I'd even give Darby Allin if they would book him right and let him stop doing some of the dumb shit he could be. You know. Another example,
Well, that
MJF
depends
is
on
the
how.
ultimate example. That's just obvious. Um, but Tony Storm is a great example. Um, if they would really get their head out their ass, and you're gonna look at me like I'm crazy when I say this, because part of me is saying no and part of me is saying yes when I say this. But there's another woman that could do it, Marina Shafir.
Oh God, no.
Hold on, but see, I knew you was gonna say that. I knew you was gonna say that. But Marcus, I want you to think about this though. If she had a manager that can talk for her, and they would place her. You know what I would do with her? She would be the Russian robot off of Rocky. I'd have her as that role. She says very little, but she does a hell of a lot to damage people, and she would do a hell of a lot to cheat, and have her in that type of role. Because what's fucking her up now is she's talking too fucking much, and she's not doing enough in the ring damage wise to hurt people to get her hated.
Mm-mm.
I think if we went that way, she could do something.
Mm-mm.
No,
So
No,
knocking out people
no.
with the mother's milk thing is not enough.
hell no.
Simply because, first of all, and as long as professional wrestling is a male-dominated audience, a woman that has a masculine, muscle-bound look like Marina Shafir is never going to carry the company. Now, you put somebody with your same suggestion you had, Bobby. You put somebody that's a little bit more feminine and prettier than what's the chick's name that used to be with Tony Storm? What was her name?
Mariah May.
No. The chick that used to be with no, the chick that used to be with Mercedes Monet. That they wrote off that just went away. Her bodyguard. Who was that chick?
Velvet.
No, no,
No,
she was.
no,
She
he's
was
talking
in the,
about Camille.
yeah, yeah,
Camille Brickhouse.
yes.
Oh yeah, yeah, she did
Now
disappear.
you put her in that role, maybe, but not Marina Severe. No, she's too muscular. No, no, no. Most men in general can't get behind a woman that looks like that she could beat their ass.
That's why she be a heel though.
Right. It's still, that's not going to carry a company like AEW over the top. No, no,
Okay, well, gentlemen, here's the bigger question. Do you want legitimacy or marketability? Because marketability is what WWE does, and their product stinks. I don't care who's watching it or how many, their product sucks for the most part. AEW, to my mind at least, you guys may disagree, and everybody else in the world might, but what's new? I think that AEW's product is far superior because of its believability. So people may laugh at that and think that it's not, and but no, I want quality versus marketability, and that seems to be all WWE does. And I'm not the only person in the world who's sick to death of it.
Hold on,
here,
but I gotta say this. I think AEW is more unbelievable than WWE.
about yes.
I
I mean,
mean,
You
I mean,
see that
but
that's where
here's,
we differ.
here's the thing, Rob. At AEW, I'm gonna fuck around and see somebody put a fucking screwdriver through somebody's head. I'm going to see somebody get set on fire. What the fuck is believable about that? What about people drinking
Because
people drinking Drano and shit like that? What's believable about that?
hey, I was part of a storyline where we had motherfuckers drinking Drano. Yeah, I was. Yep.
Yeah, but and
okay,
what the fuck's believable about that? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
well, because things like that do happen in the real world. People don't stand around for a half hour talking about how they're going to fight with catchphrases and "you stole my woman" bullshit.
Hey,
But
hey,
Rob,
wait. How did Jerry Springer get made here?
yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. I don't want to see my wrestling. I don't want to see people act people
Jerry Springer is fake.
right. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. But see, here's the thing, Rob. You said,
Faker than wrestling.
but see, there's a lot of people who thinks AEW products suck, and I watch both shows every week. For the most part, it's just not good. I mean, but at least WE has the marketability. I'll give them that, and their product's not great either. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. But I'm not entertained at all about people jumping off ladders into glass and yeah,
No,
within
I'm,
5 minutes of a
I'm,
match,
uh,
you're in a pool of blood. I'm just not entertained by that. I'm just not.
well, Marcus, I would rather see fire, blood, and weapons rather than El Gringo Idiota and the stupid ass shit sponsored by Slim Jims. To me, that has no entertainment value whatsoever. It turns me off, it makes me angry, and that's why I refuse to watch it unless we're reviewing it on this show. I mean, that's just a matter of objectivity, I guess.
I guess.
But anyways,
Yeah.
Huh.
anyways, moving. Speaking of marketability, our next order of business is about marketability, kind of. Is Braun Breaker going to beat CM Punk for the WWE World Championship? Marcus, do you think it's going to happen this time around?
No, I don't think they're going to
No.
Breaker. Yeah, for some reason, I just don't see Breaker going into WrestleMania season as champ. I just forever don't. I think Punk is a bigger name. I think he's going to carry the title into Mania. Now, I think he probably lose. I can see him losing to Breaker, which is what I thought was going to happen. I was really surprised that they booked this match this soon, but I don't. For some reason, I just don't see Breaker going into Mania as the champ, and I will hope if he wins the title that they don't take it off him this soon. I just don't think they're ready for him to carry that torch this soon, going into a WrestleMania at Vegas. I'm just not seeing it right now. I think they're going to go with the bigger name for the moment. Is what I think. I don't. I can see maybe Breaker losing in a screw job finish or something like that. I would be surprised if Punk beats him clean, but I just don't see Breaker winning. No.
So star power will out.
Right, going into WrestleMania season, yes.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Um, I on the other hand, I'm a little bit more conflicted about this one because obviously they want to push Breaker as hard as possible, and I still am not convinced in any way that WWE is willing to give the flowers that Punk deserves to him. I still think they are resentful over the way that he did business with them the first time around, even though they were in the wrong. I still think that WWE Creative has a bone to pick with CM Punk, and that's why he has looked as weak as he has until recently. And the only reason that they put the title on him at all is because Rollins ended up hurt and they had to 86 all of the plans that they had with him. And so Punk by proxy ended up getting the belt. But be that as it may, I think, Marcus, that you are right that at least until WrestleMania rolls around that they're going to keep the title on Punk for stability's sake on Raw, and that they're going to ride Punk's personal fandom up until that point to where they have the opportune moment to screw him over and shove him back down underneath the glass ceiling again where they want him to be, which is where they have always wanted Punk to be, which is why he is the world champion and not the WWE champion. They gave the legacy title to Cody, and they don't even have confidence in Cody enough to where they would build the company around him. It's still built around Reigns, it's still built around Lesnar, and it's still built around this corporate marketing bullshit that drives me crazy. So, as far as Punk goes, yeah, I don't think they're going to pull the trigger yet. They're probably going to wait for WrestleMania. But eventually they are going to pull the trigger because Breaker is the new chosen one, or at least one of them, outside of Logan fucking Paul. So, and I know that shit's inevitable, so God help us there. But yeah, Breaker is eventually going to get it. He's just not going to get it on the first try. Bobby, how do you feel about it?
Well, Logan Paul better watch it because if he goes try to avenge his brother in boxing, he might be laying up with a broken jaw for a year or two, and his wrestling plans is blown. So we might not have too much to worry about there, Rob. Second of all,
Well, let's count our blessings.
well, his brother got
Uh,
jacked.
Yeah.
well, there you go. That should prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that Tyson took a payoff.
Oh heck yeah! All of them up till now
Mhm.
took a payoff, but that young dude this time was like, "Nope, it ain't happening. Cave your jaw, bow, take that, take it all in the jaw, take all that in the jaw." Anyway, but I
Okay.
digress. Sorry, I got too happy on that one. Um, my opinion on this one is I don't think Brian's gonna take it, but this is gonna go into our next segment.
Hmm.
I'm just gonna say Brian is not gonna take it, and that will be for WrestleMania. I'm gonna just leave it at that. I'm gonna do a short one like that because my explanation is really gonna come on this next segment.
All right, well, let's move on to the next segment. There is a theory going around that Austin Theory is not really part of the vision, and that there is some kind of there's some kind of uh, there's some kind of different level of intrigue going on here. Bobby, you probably know the most about it, so start us off here and explain what's going on and whether you believe that Austin Theory is really a member of the Vision.
Hell no, he's not a member of the Vision.
Okay.
Austin Theory is not a member of the Vision. No way, no how. Paul Heyman is thinking right now he's getting over it because somebody's helping him and he's getting doing it for free and blah blah blah. Which in actuality, he's sitting back looking at these two dudes saying, "I'm getting to know what the fuck they do, so I know when I face them, I know what I can do and beat them." I think there's going to be a couple more people that come up from NXT possibly or somewhere out of nowhere to where it's going to be a different faction. And I think there's going to be an additional faction along with that because I think the roles of Cody, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, these guys is going to go from I'm the champion to I'm the leader of these factions. I can see Survivor Series turn out either this year, come up in 26 and 27, or next year being a true Survivor Series. I have to look at it
Okay.
this way because of think about the long term planning they did with this first half of this stuff. So now it's got me thinking out the box like crazy. It's like, okay, if you did that, what else could you do that's kind of outlandish? And this just makes sense. If you notice, the theory is not acknowledged. He's anywhere with Paul Heyman in the vision. He's not acknowledged anything like that. He's not said anything like that. He hasn't done anything but beat the people that's in front of him. So down the road, I think what's gonna happen is Heyman's gonna be like, "Oh yes, you're part of our family." Blah 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 blah. Theory's gonna say, "I don't think so." He's gonna come out with a couple of other people, and there goes another faction war, and it's gonna get ugly. These boys gonna beat each other down like crazy. So I don't see Austin Theory as part of the Vision because he's gonna be the main one going against the Vision.
Okay. Okay, fair enough, Bobby. I'm gonna let Marcus close this out because I want him to be the tiebreaker here, because I disagree with you slightly, but not as much as you might think. Everything that you're saying is a fantastic booking idea. However, I don't think for a moment that WWE's creative team are nearly on the same level as you are, and that that is anything that they have planned, at least not yet. I
Doesn't
believe they don't know what I believe they don't know what the hell they're doing with Austin Theory yet. They just needed somebody random to come out in that mask and interfere in war games that wasn't Seth Rollins. And Theory just happened to be available. I
mm.
don't believe for a moment that there is any long term planning going on here. The people behind the scenes are just going to throw whatever turds they produce from their hand to the wall to see what sticks.
You
Do,
said
do you
toy.
guys all remember? Hey, it's no Thanksgiving today, so there's no thank you for joining us. But here's
That's
the deal.
shitty.
It is. It is most shitty, and I'll tell you why. Do you remember 8 years ago when The Last Jedi came out?
Yeah.
Well, I
Before
remember
that
being.
movie happened,
Mm.
oh yeah, before that movie happened, there were a lot of things that the previous movie, The Force Awakens, had set up. Who is Supreme Leader Snoke? Where the hell did Rey come from? Why did Luke exile himself? How the fuck did the First Order form? Who are Rey's parents? All of this shit that. Well, all of this good stuff, by the way, that was set up by The Force Awakens, and fans, Star Wars fans, came up with better answers to those questions than what the movie The Last Jedi ultimately gave us. Now, whether you want to blame that on the director or blame that on Disney or blame it on poor planning in general, that is more or less the same way that WWE has been handling their booking since TKO happened, since the sale. They have been randomly throwing shit against the wall to see what will uh, happen and then booking around that without a cohesive plan. Bobby, on this show, you have come up with at least a dozen or 2 dozen ways that WWE could have booked something that would have been not only logical but wonderful and would have made buku money and brought in twice the audience that it did, but they failed. And they failed because they don't plan and they don't care. They only care about marketing. They only care about making LA Knight sell Slim Jims and banking off of bullshit nostalgia like the Cena semi retirement run. So, as much as I love, and don't get me wrong, I love it. I love the idea that you just came up with, that Theory's out for himself. He's going to start his new faction, and there's going to be this big stable war leading up to the next year. That would be fantastic, but that would require WWE growing a fucking brain. And I don't think that they will. Marcus, do you agree with me or do you agree with Bobby?
Well, I was just thinking, damn, Bobby, did I talk to you on the phone last night? Because because I was kind of thinking the same way, um, along those lines, of Theory not ended up being a part of the vision. Now the most obvious and probable WWE ending is, Steph him there to break up the vision within. But the idea that I have that probably won't happen is that there's going to be a new faction, and they're going to bring up Ricky Saints to be in it with them, but with the leader of this faction being Randy Orton. Seeing how that they're not doing much with Randy right now. He's too big of a star to being on the sidelines this long. So who better to do like a evolution? I mean, not evolution. What was the other one they had? It was him. It was
Legacy.
right. Thank you. Let
Legacy.
go or something like that. But yeah, to answer the question, no, I think there's more for Austin Theory, than being a part of the vision, because I don't wish basically Theory and Breaker being in their 20s right now. I don't see them putting them together in a faction, because the whole point of a
Mm-mm.
faction is for somebody to be a breakout star. And that's the whole purpose. So I don't see them being paired together for long. I think they got something else completely planned for Theory.
See, Marcus, you came up with an excellent idea on your own right there in front of us. I would rather that your idea were used by WWE and Bobby's idea rather than the convoluted, stupid shit that they're going to end up doing. I have more confidence in Bobby Rogers and Marcus Buckley than I do Bruce Pritchard or God save me Michael Hayes or Triple H. You
Well, let me
you
say this.
you guys.
Let me say this. That's
Mhm.
why I want a job.
I was
I
about
want a
to say,
job.
I was about to say, Paul, Nick. hey, hey, reach out FTW my FTW mailbox. Hey, let's negotiate. I'm down.
Give me a job.
Yeah,
I want that
and
pay.
Hell yeah.
I would be all for that. And if they end up using the ideas that you just espoused on this program, then I think that you guys should get compensated for it just through. Just through idea infringement. If they steal what you guys just said, then you should get paid for it.
That's the
But
American
in
way.
all likelihood, well, that's debatable. But on I would rather see what you guys said get on the TV screen rather than what I'm afraid they're going to do, which is going to be some convoluted way of making theory part of the group or not part of the group, and they're going to end up wasting him and wasting our time, which is what WWE does because they don't care. They just care about endorsements.
So their theory is about
Anyway, that
country. So their theory is about corporate funds, not wrestling. Okay.
well, I mean that's how I feel about WWE. And then there are. Let me say this about corporate sponsorship. Last night, there were a few things at World's End that did piss me off, and one of them was the fact that at least one match had a sponsor. And I don't want AEW to go down that route, especially if they're doing it, as Marcus said, uh, to uh, to survive the fact that their dynamite ratings are down. That doesn't necessarily mean the pay per view revenue is down, but if they are doing that in order to compensate for the ratings the way that WWE is, then that's going to piss me off. I don't want corporate sponsors because corporate sponsors mean boards of directors. That means censorship, and that means no more creativity. And that means Parents Television Council and PG television and all that shit. I don't want to go down that route. So if AEW does that, you're going to start seeing a whole lot more criticism of them from me on this program.
Well, this is one thing we got to remember though. They did turn down that Paramount deal. So Netflix is the company right now that looks like that they're going to get it. Now, I don't know how that's going to work out, man. I know they got to honor the old contract, but there's a thing of honoring the contract, and then there's a way of I got this contract. Let me give them the bare minimum so they can get the hell out of my face. I'm already seeing it with
Yeah,
them
that's
doing it,
what
but
scares me.
well, I'm going to tell you the truth. Again, when I was speaking about this, it affected me in two ways. Not only pro wrestling, but the video game industry. I'm seeing that done with NetherRealm right now. Netflix does not realize what they have with Mortal Kombat right now, and they
Hmm.
are right now slushing their feet, don't care, and the actual avenue and thing of Mortal Kombat is just to the wayside. It sucks. This might be the end of an era of a game that I grew up with. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
But
Bobby, let's look on the bright side here. Let's not count our chickens just yet. The
oh, I'm
deal has
sorry.
been agreed
I'm counting
to
chickens. I'm counting
tentatively.
chickens. Motherfucking
Well,
KFC.
well, I'm not yet because there's still obstacles in the way of this deal. It's basically been agreed to, but there are several obstacles in the way of it. Number one, there's antitrust issues that got to be worked out with Netflix and the federal government. We're going to see how that goes. Um,
What do we have in government right
Also,
now? I'm just saying.
well, I don't. No, no, I'm not making any bets on the competency of the federal government. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm
No,
talking
what I'm
about
saying
the
is I'm
red
making
tape.
bets on that they got ties with the federal government because Linda McMahon worked for them.
Well, that depends on whether Linda McMahon is still in cahoots with TKO. If she's if they don't want the taint of McMahon on their product, aside from Triple H's wife, they may just she may not have any ties with them at all. But be that as it may, there's a lot of bureaucracy at play here that may 86 the deal. Number two, AEW is they're doing business with Warner Brothers Discovery, but they're not owned by them, which means that they could get distribution somewhere else. They could go to Amazon, they could go to NBC, maybe.
Hold
It
on,
all depends
Rob.
on
Let me correct you on
whether
something.
Tony Khan is.
Let me correct you on something.
Mhm.
Warner Brothers does own AEW.
20%, something
They
like
own
that.
the distribution, Warner Brothers Discovery.
Right, but with that distribution rights, they have ownership rights as well.
Well,
So
see,
yeah,
we don't know how much of the company itself Tony Khan gave them control over. Unless Tony Khan no longer owns AEW uh, uh, as the controlling owner, then he can still find another distributor. He could still do business with either Amazon or Peacock if they lose WWE because of Netflix.
but
They
this,
there is still,
well,
my
this is
point
different.
being that AEW could survive this.
This is the difference. It depends on how much the contract is written up and also the percentages. Now, if you go over a certain amount of percentage, you do have to have the other party to agree that hey, we're going to go ahead and we're going to agree to the sale. They got to have a meeting, discuss everything, pros and cons, have the sale, sign up on papers, things of that nature. But it depends on the percentage of what they own. Nobody knows that. That's one of the mysteries. Second of all,
Hmm.
syndicate deal. If they could literally and seriously hold AEW to an account to where they can't leave, but they give them terrible service, and they got 3 4 years to go with this right now. You know what I'm saying? This ain't no 1 year 2 year deal. This is 3 4 years. They have an option to where if Netflix isn't happy, they can terminate it. That was the same thing Warner Brothers had in their contract. So it's the same thing. The problem is this: if you really want to torture somebody, you're not going to let them go. You're going to keep them around so they can suffer. They can suffocate themselves, and that's what I'm afraid that it's going to happen because of their ties with WWE.
Well, like I've said in the past, if that happens, and if WWE gets their monopoly back, then I am no longer a wrestling fan. And that's the hill I have chosen to die on. Fuck WWE. If they get their monopoly back, especially that way, then fuck them. I'll never watch their product again, not even to review it. Marcus, am I being an irrational dick here?
No, not
Okay.
really. How you feel how you feel about it. And, I just I'm hoping that whether AEW goes to Netflix, if that sale goes through, or Amazon or whatever, but particularly Netflix, like I said before, we talked about this a few weeks ago. Netflix is a business. Okay, they want to make money, and even though and they got
Hmm.
WWE locked in, well, at least Raw anyway. Like I said, at least Raw. So if
Yeah.
but again, if Tony Khan offers them the whole package of the streaming Dynamite Collision, hey, we're giving you the whole shebang other than one show. And again, streaming services. What's they best friend? Content. So I'm gonna give you two shows. I'm gonna give you 3 hours of TV a week, a pay per view once a month, and 6 years worth of footage. Hey, you know what? Netflix got to take a look at that. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Bobby, what else would you like to discuss this week? Because I think we've got a little bit of time left over. It's just full disclosure. It's kind of hard for me to see right now. I just
Just
had
we got a little bit.
recently
We got
had
a little
another
bit.
eye
I
surgery.
want to
Okay,
know something.
okay.
Does it seem like WWE is coming down to this thing of where it's really no faces, no heels, and if they are going in that direction, how would that affect the product? And would that make it more interesting or terrible?
Marcus, I'll let you go first because I got a mole for a second.
Um, well, see, I don't. When it comes down to baby faces or heels, like in my opinion, we the fans usually end up choosing which one is which. I mean, if you look at, like, for example, let's just take MJF for example. MJF is a heel. No question about it. Everything about him is a heel. But till a couple of weeks ago, he got the biggest pop of the night when he came back, without question. Now I don't know how big his reaction was in um last night in Chicago, but you guys remember when
Hmm.
we saw a couple of years ago a heel Moxley and a heel MJF got a bigger pop than a hometown hero CM Punk. I'm sure you all remember that night. Um, so it's always going to be baby faces and there's always going to be heels, whether that's by design of the promotion or by us, the fans, saying who we root for and who we don't root for. So I don't think that's ever going to go away. Period. Whether it's by design or not, because I mean it's like the same thing. Like it's like whether we go to the TV or whether we watch TV, whether we go to the movies, we always got something. We always got the hero. We always got the villain. Like personally, growing up, I like Darth Vader better than Luke Skywalker. That was just I always root for Darth Vader. So I mean, it doesn't matter whether even like somebody like Austin, who was supposed to be a tweener, he was made babyface. I remember years ago in WCW, Ray tried to turn the Road Warriors heel. Oh, no, no can do. They even tried to make Jim Ross a heel once upon a time. They're both too beloved. It didn't matter. It's always going to be a good guy. It's always I shouldn't even say a good guy, a bad guy. It's always going to be the people we root for and the people that we boo. Call them what you call them babyface heels, what you want to call them good guy, bad guy, whatever. That's always going to be the case in any form of entertainment, whether it's wrestling, basketball, football, the movies. It's always going to be those that get cheered and those that get booed. Call them what you want to call them.
Well, Marcus, you make a good point in that the concept of cool heels like Darth Vader have kind of been more baked into our ethos than it used to be. I was a Luke Skywalker kid. I liked Vader, but I wanted to see him lose, which is more of the traditional meat and potatoes kind of formula that professional wrestling used to be built on when kayfabe was king. Um, Bobby, to your point, in that it has become more convoluted, even though it still exists. But I believe that Marcus is right that if you tried to force the old formula back, then it wouldn't work. People would rebel against it, like they did in the early 2000s, the late 2000s, early 2010s with Cena. It was obvious and like contractually obligated that John Cena had to be the second coming of Hulk Hogan and a babyface, and people booed him out of the building because they didn't want to go along with the plan. And that would happen again if WWE tried to enforce strict heel and babyface lines, because Marcus is right. People do decide who they want to cheer and boo for depending on how cool they think they are. And that's always been the case even during kayfabe, but it's even more so now. Those lines have blurred, and kayfabe will never come back. Not truly. I mean, you can make the product more realistic. You can make it less. You can make it more dependent on individual personalities than face heel. But the fact is that we, the fans, ultimately control that much more than the promotions do. And I think that the concept of the old school way of doing it is still sound. It's just that you can't be married to it for too long, because too much of and I like this aspect, but too much of the modern interpretation of wrestling and the international flavor of wrestling, which revolves around individualistic storytelling and in the ring storytelling for match quality and storyline, that has integrated itself into American wrestling more than in the previous 30 years or so. So I get what you're saying in that it convolutes the product a little bit when you don't have clearly defined faces and heels. But if you're cheering the personality and other aspects of a character, as opposed to whether the promotion wants them to be babyface or cheered or wants them to be heels and booed by the audience, that's what they need to concentrate on more than reverting back to the days of you must boo Jerry Lawler because he's being a jerk, and you must cheer Bret Hart because he's a clean cut meat and potatoes guy. Those days are unfortunately over. I wish they could come back to a certain degree, and MJF is part of something that preserves that, but we really can't have it again. We either have to become even more of a subculture than we are by reverting back to formula, or we have to modify what we really have. Um, how do you feel about that argument, Bobby?
It makes me think,
Yeah.
and of course, I love the traditional, but like a mix-up too.
Hmm.
And again, if you did both, but you did them both in a way, I think it could work. You don't have just one style because you get tired of that. You have them both and have them interchange. I did. I I understand that kayfabe, the heel face persona. I do agree that the crowd is 9 times out of 10. They're going to choose which way that person goes. The
Mhm.
problem is this: we're talking about stuff right now to where we're looking at it as an established superstar, but I got to look at it as where it's a guy that's coming up trying to establish himself. He needs that guidance. He needs that street role to see, where he would fit and what his personality would do and fit in better. Sometimes, yeah, they're better freaking heels. Look at Tiffany Stratton. I'm sorry. This chick championship run she was on was a big disappointment because she did the space thing because these old guys wanted to sit up there and look at her picture and smile and use Jergens lotion. You know, it makes
Yeah,
me sick. I mean, but it's the truth.
I
It's
can't
the
say it.
truth. You know, I mean, it makes me so sick that you got somebody like a Nia Jax before that could have been an evil chick and they wouldn't let her. And then when they did her, let her, it was all futile and ridiculous. You know, who else do we got? We got a whole bunch of people. They tried to put Jay Cargill as a face.
Hmm.
Come on, man. What were you drinking? And please don't pass that over here. And I know Tony don't want none either. I mean, it's. I don't know why they think these things. Oh, he could be a face. Look how cute she is. No, some of these girls is cute. Need to be healed to reflect the real world. Because I remember the cheerleaders that used to get on my nerves and talk trash. They wasn't ugly.
Mm.
They were fine as I don't know what. But they had a bad attitude. And that's one of the fundamentals I think that's missing from wrestling from back in the day. If you remember, it was the rich guy, the guy that had the money, the guy that had the cars, the guy that had the women,
Mhm.
that was the heels. But you had your
Yeah.
everyday looking Joes, wasn't muscular all over the place for the most part. Some of them were, but for the most part, no. That were sympathetic baby faces.
Yeah.
And when oh man, Kenneth just took the words right out of my mouth. Golly, Kenneth, stay off my tonsils, man. Stay off my tonsils. But,
Yeah.
but the reason why I think I was lucky in my career to get over because I didn't put on the act. I was me. I put myself in situations to the wrestler so it could pertain to the wrestler world of what was going on. But I was more me than anything. I didn't make up hardly anything. And I was me. I was the idea of what I am supposed to be. And they're missing that in wrestling nowadays. Everything's just fake. I'm a muscle bound dude with cut up abs and I can walk around here like I'm Zeus. And I'm gonna smile at you and kiss babies. That makes me a face. But on the other hand, yeah, it's bad, bro. It's bad.
Well, Bobby, I see what you're saying, and you're not wrong. The fundamentals are very essential and very important in order to build a personality around. The same thing is true of screenwriting, novelizations, and filmmaking. You have to know the basics of what you're doing in order to create something that is coherent.
Exactly.
But yeah, and you're right about that part. The problem is that nowadays even whether it's wrestling or whether it's television, whether it's novelizations or whatever, it is a more complex world than what we grew up in. And more has to be put into the mix in order to create a story that is accessible, especially in a world that has become as complicated as ours is.
True.
So, as much as we would like to go back to the kind of heel face formula that dominated professional wrestling, like right before national expansion and after it, to up until the early 2000s, I would say. That's when kayfabe truly and completely died, more or less. Especially with the arrival of the internet. Given all of that, you have to graft the modern stuff onto it, and I think that's the problem that purists have. Jim Cornette in specific, and you as well. That's the problem that a lot of us have with the with modern stuff. There's too much of it grafted on. There's too much mainstream involvement. There's too much, and it gets. And I agree, it gets to be too complicated for what it should be, but unfortunately, in order for the industry to live, some of that has to get into the mix. Now, for the record, there's a lot of that. There's quite a bit of that stuff. Like we've said, the marketing stuff, the sponsorship stuff, the corporate stuff, that kind of thing gets on my nerves too. But the industry can't live without them, apparently, because even AEW's doing it, and it irritates me to no end. But I still love wrestling, and so do you. And as much as I want WWE to succeed, there are parts of it that I refuse to accept, and maybe that's a bad thing. I'll sit right here and say that that may be a bad thing on my part, but I love wrestling enough to accept at least some of it.
True. True.
Hmm.
So true. Well, it's 5:30. I'm gonna say let's go on about our business. And this year on that note, guys,
Well, on
again,
behalf, oh, go ahead.
thank you for tuning in. We do appreciate it.
Oh, yes.
2026. Let's tell our friends, family, everything about this. FTWTV.com. Also, keep in touch. Let's get some friends in here. Let's get this group going because it's time to start doing some things here. It's time to start doing 2026. This is the time to make our move. So, Rob, want to close it?
Yep, we absolutely. We've got our network, we've got everything set up, and to our loyal fans out there, we greatly appreciate you. We want you to come back for more, bring a friend. We love you no matter what you